Hello, I'm Eunice Russell, and welcome to this segment of the Truth Seekers Coalition. I will be discussing the redistricting process in Pomona, California. When discussing redistricting, it is important to know that each city and state can handle the process differently, including using different data resources. After doing some research, I found Pomona is not using the most current data in determining citizen voting age, population, and some other relevant statistics discussed in justifying the mapping changes. People should also be mindful that the maps presented to the Commission were not all made by Pomona residents. Anyone could have submitted as many maps as they wanted, and they were displayed anonymously except for Commissioner Luong's map. It would be interesting to know who the maps were submitted by. There are a number of federal regulations that come into play when discussing redistricting, including contiguous districts, undivided neighborhoods, and communities with shared interests, issues, problems, and concerns that require that they stay together in order to obtain fair representation, lines that are easily to understand, and that follow either man-made or natural boundaries. The goal of redistricting is to evenly distribute the population throughout the city and not restructure the districts to make it easier to run for office or to keep some people out of office. When you change the district lines, you can also change the financial dynamics, which can make it harder for certain groups to run or to give fair representation because of the cost to run for office increases. The information you see on the screen is from the data sheet attached to all of the maps. The footnote of the data on the current map being reviewed states, 1, the total population numbers come from the 2010 census, not the 2020. Surname-based voter registration and turnout data came from the statewide California database, but it does not say from what year. Latino voter registration and turnout are Spanish name surnames counts adjusted using the Census Population Department undercount estimates. Undercount estimates mean that some people weren't counted at all. Non-Hispanic whites and non-Hispanic Black registration and voter counts were estimated by the National Demographics Corporation, NDC for short. The footnote does not say for what year NDC data was captured. Citizen voting population, age, immigration, and other demographics used in Pomona data came from the 2013-2017 American Community Survey and Special Tabulation 5-year data. This means that the data being relied upon to determine citizen voter population is more than 5 years old, and when they could in fact be using ACS data from 2018, 2019, and 2020 had a 1-year experimental estimates that they released in November of 2021. The 2016-2020 5-year table that we should be using in the calculations is scheduled to be released on March 17, 2022, approximately 9 days from the date of this taping. The difference between the American Community Survey, ACS, and the 2020 census is the data collection methods. The 2020 census counts all the people in the United States, and the ACS is a sample survey which relies on data from a relatively small number of people to represent the larger population. The ACS is an ongoing survey that provides information on a yearly basis. So why is Pomona using 2013-2017 data instead of incorporating 2018 and 2019 or the 2020 experimental data? Is unknown, at least to me at this time. I'm going to review for you the 7 maps that the Commission decided to focus on, and one map that I feel they overlooked. 6 of the focus maps look very similar and totally restructures 2 districts in particular without regard to the effect of the residents or the other communities involved. The other theme that seemed to be a concern of the Commission was to make sure that at least one district was not a majority Hispanic. On the screen now is map 127, and it's compared to the current district map. Pomona is 71% Hispanic, but map 127 provided for 2 districts that were not 51% Hispanic and that did not dramatically change any districts, yet the Commission was silent and eliminated this map from selection without any conversation. Commissioners are not limited to the focus maps that they can add or change borders as they see fit. These maps are not set in stone, so please, commissioners, pay attention to the residents and look carefully to how you are creating border boundaries. I would even ask that you drive through the city and look physically at the neighborhoods and communities you are drawing lines through, because your work will affect the lives of all of us for decades to come. Furthermore, there was never any discussion on the new developments that are going on throughout the city and how those would affect the population of each of these maps. And that is something of concern, because as the population grows, what happens? Are the districts going to be off balance even more for the next decade? So these are some very important things that were not discussed, not touched on. But we'll move on to map 104. The next comparison map here shows that District 1 is moved north into District 6, and the fairground is split, where the maintenance bays and parking lot are in District 6, separated from the fairground itself, which will be in District 1. District 1 loses everything south of the 71 freeway, which includes a small neighborhood bordered by the 71 and the 57 freeways, and they lose Cal Poly to District 5. District 2's northern border goes all the way north of Holt, and it loses the area south of Lexington to District 5. District 4 loses the area south of Holt to District 2 and 3. District 3 appears to be the only district that doesn't have a significant change. District 3 gains part of District 4 and 2 and loses a small portion of the southwest border at the 60 freeway east of the 71, and they lose that to District 5. The next map the Commission has chosen to review is map 107. Here you see District 6 is divided on the east end from Arrow Highway south will go to D4. The fairgrounds and Ganesha Hills and the historic community of Hacienda remain together in D6. District 4 will gain the east end of D6 from Arrow Highway south between San Antonio on the west and the city border on the east. D4 will lose the area between Gary and Town to D2 and a portion of its border south of Holt to D3. D3 will gain a portion of District 2 from Gary to just east of Town and will lose its border south of Philadelphia to D5. D2 will gain the area south of the 10 freeway between White and Town and will lose the area south of Phillips Boulevard to D5. D5 gains the area north of Phillips to D2 and south of Olive Street from D3. It appears that D5 will lose Westmount area to D1. D1 would gain everything south of the 71 freeway and Mission Boulevard. Its northern border would remain the same, and it would lose the area from White to Gary to D2. The next map is map 108. District 6 will lose the area from Gary and Arrow Highway on the northeast end to District 1. D6 will gain a few blocks between San Antonio and McKinley. D4 will gain a small area just above San Bernardino Avenue, otherwise D4 will remain the same. D1 will lose everything south of the 71 freeway and gain everything north of the freeway from the western city border to Gary Avenue. D2 will gain part of District 1 from Holt South and the east of the 71. Otherwise, D2 will remain just about the same. D3 will remain just about the same. D5 will gain a portion of District 1, which includes everything south of the 71 freeway and a small community off of the 10 freeway, north of the 71, and west of Fairplex Boulevard. And if you notice in all the maps, this little community is separated off. And you have to be really careful of jagged lines or islands being made within, to try to formulate a district, because that can, lead to evidence of gerrymandering. Not saying that that's what this is, but the boundaries should be clear and concise. The next map is map 115. Again, District 6 is split with District 1. Here, the fairgrounds are separated from their maintenance bays, RV park, and the parking lot. All of that would be in District 6. D1 loses everything south of the 71 freeway to District 5. And that small area that I was talking about, it zigzags. It's north of Arroyo Avenue, south of the 10 freeway. Again, those zigzag lines, you've got to really look at that and what is in that community that they're trying to bite it off from. D5 will gain Cal Poly, but otherwise, the rest of it remains the same, as does D2 and 3. The next map is map 117. Here, District 6 is split between Districts 1, 4, and 2. District 6 gains a small portion of District 4 between the 10 freeway on the north and San Bernardino on the south on its east end. District 4 loses that same small area and loses a small area between 2nd on the south and Holt on the north, San Antonio on the east, and Gary to the west. Otherwise, District 4 is relatively the same, and you can see from the maps. Those are very small changes. District 3 gains the southern portion of District 2 south of Philadelphia. Otherwise, District 3 is relatively the same. District 2's northern border is extended all the way north of the 10 freeway to include Hacienda Historic District, and 2 loses everything south of Grand Avenue. District 5 gains a major portion of District 2 from the 71 freeway west to Gary Avenue on the east. District 5 gains everything east of Mission Boulevard with District 1. The next map will be 119. Map 119 divides District 6 and District 1, again placing the fairgrounds in District 1 and separating the fair from its service bays, the RV park that it owns, and the parking lot. Those would all be in District 6 and back up against neighborhoods that would be affected from the work that goes on in those areas. District 4 loses the area south of Holt and east of town between to District 2 and District 3. District 3 essentially stays the same other than those few areas that it gained as discussed. District 2 loses the area south of Philadelphia to the 71 freeway. Otherwise, District 2 essentially stays the same. District 5 gains everything north of Mission, south of the 71 to District 1. There is some issue with the zigzagging here again on the eastern borders along the 71 freeway. Anytime lines go in and out like that, you have to look at that carefully and see what causes that. It could be something that it's a natural border that makes it zigzag like that, or it could be something else cutting in and out of neighborhoods or around neighborhoods. So you have to be careful of any lines that zig or zag or create a thin strip within a district. The last map is map 129. And as you can see, unlike the other maps, again, this one tells you who drafted it. This map was submitted late, yet accepted. Commissioner Luong offered to withdraw it because it was late, but it was still put in with the focus maps. Map 129 divides District 6 with District 1, again separating the fairgrounds and the neighborhoods affected by the fair from each other, putting the RV park, the parking lot, and the maintenance bays and service areas in District 6 and putting the fair itself in District 1. District 4 remains intact except for a small area on the south end that it shares with District 3 and 2. District 2 remains relatively the same except for a small area between Dudley and the 71 freeway that it gains from District 5, and the northeastern border it shares with District 3 and 4. District 5 gains the area north of Mission all the way to the city's western border. So District 5 loses the areas from the 71 freeway and Dudley just south of Mission. So as you can see, these are the maps that the commission is going to be reviewing. Nothing is set in stone. The commission makes the rules. They can accept these maps, reject these maps, change these maps. I just think that it's important for the commission to note who made the maps. Are the maps in the best interest of all of Pomona? Did you consider the new buildings and growth that's coming to Pomona that's already in the works and how that will affect these maps? Did you take an actual look at the area? Use Google Maps, drive through the communities? Because it's clear, one thing, that the maps themselves didn't show the streets clearly. So it's hard to tell, what area or what you were going through. So my suggestion is this is too important not to do all that you can do, because the choices that are going to be made here will affect this city for decades to come. So God bless you all. Everyone that's listening to this, you have a voice, you have a say-so, so email, write in, call in, become a part of what goes on in your city. Take care, and until the next journey, bye-bye.